Hi, this is Buffy, and today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious Duncan Hines red velvet cake from their cake mix. This is a classic cake, and it's going to taste even better when I buffetize it a little bit. So here I am dropping the cake mix into my KitchenAid stand mixer bowl. I'm adding 1 box of Jello chocolate pudding mix. This is the 5.9 ounce box. You can use the smaller box, which I think is 3.4, but I didn't have any on hand. I had the larger box. I'm also adding 1 cup of Swans Down cake mix. This is the first time I'm adding this extra cake flour. Sorry, I said cake mix, but cake flour. Usually my bundt cakes fall a little bit, so I want to make sure it stays risen. So I'm adding this Swans Down. I'm also using about a tablespoon of creme bouquet. You want to be careful. Don't add too much of that because it can overpower your cake. I also added 2 tablespoons of vanilla. Never can have too much vanilla. And instead of the 1 cup of water, I swapped out 1 cup of milk. And the directions also tell you to use 3 eggs. I'm going to use 6. This swap out of milk for water and the additional eggs will help your cake really be moist and make it taste even better than a cake from the bakery. Now my eggs and milk are at room temperature. I do add everything in there, including the eggs, and I mix it around a little bit. And the final swap out I do is the cake mix will tell you to use vegetable oil. They'll tell you to use a half a cup of vegetable oil. I actually use melted unsalted butter. And what I do to figure out how much to use is whatever the oil it tells you to use on the box, I double it as far as melted butter. So it told me to use a half a cup of vegetable oil. Doubled is 1 cup of melted butter. You want that melted butter to cool a little bit though, because you don't want to put it in there with the eggs and have it start cooking the eggs. And I did put a timer on my Fitbit for about 2 minutes to let it mix in the Ka. Now occasionally you do want to stop the Ka, use a spatula, get the mixture down from the sides and make sure you're in the bottom of the bowl. Make sure all that's going to get incorporated. You also want to get some mixture off of the actual attachment. You want to make sure all that batter is getting incorporated and mixed well together. And again, I'm just making sure everything's getting incorporated. You guys like my Grinch apron? I got that off of Amazon. I think it's so cute. I love the Grinch. Now I'm putting the batter into a Nordic ware bundt pan, and it's shaped like a heart, and it's different tiers. It's about a 3-tier heart-shaped cake, and you'll see it when it turns out. I've used this pan before, and I love this pan. And I did prep the pan with some Baker's Joy, sprayed that really well because I don't want the cake to stick. Baker's Joy is just that, Baker's Joy. If you use it and use it properly, your baked goods will not stick to your pans. I love that stuff. Wiping off the little excess on the pan there. I'm tapping it to get any air bubbles out. Moving it around to make sure it's as level as possible in the pan. There it is cooking, and you see how well it's risen up? It's beautiful. And I wish you could smell it in the house. It smelled chocolatey and sweet as it was baking. There it is out. And I cook it on a cookie sheet in case anything overflows. It'll overflow onto the cookie sheet, not inside my oven. Now, here comes the most worrisome part for a baker, especially with a bundt cake. Can you flip it out of the bundt pan without it sticking? Let's see how it goes. Boom, baby, there it is. It didn't stick. I love it. And I also noticed with that additional cup of Swans Down Cake Flour, it didn't fall. So instead of getting about 3 layers, my sister was like, Buffy, you got 4 layers on this cake. And it's such a pretty cake when it comes out. I love that Nordic Ware heart-shaped pan. Now for the frosting, I used the Duncan Hines creamy cheese frosting container. I also added about 4 ounces of cream cheese that was softened, 3 cups of powdered sugar, and about 2 tablespoons of milk. And I mixed that up well in my KA mixer. Now, by all means, look at that. I am not like professional froster or anything. I do not know how to frost a cake. I'll be the first to admit that. But trust the process. Trust it. It's going to turn out a lot better than it looks right now. But I will admit, as I was doing that, I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. This is going to be an ugly cake. And again, it smelled so good, so chocolatey in the kitchen as I was making this. And I admit I'm making a bit of a mess on the cake pan, but I'm trying the best I can. Again, I am not a froster. I'm not a professional baker. I really don't know what I'm doing, because usually when I frost a cake, whatever the cake mix jar that I have, I just heat it up in the microwave until it's pourable and pour that over the cake. That's how bad of a froster I am. So any tips you can give me on that, please do so. Please leave a comment. There's some videos or some books I can use or review to learn how to do a better job frosting. Please give those tips to me and point me in the right direction. It would be greatly appreciated. And I thank you in advance for that. And presentation for me is key. I try to clean up my mess a little bit, wipe out any excess frosting. And I actually had enough of this left over that I poured what I had left over back into the Duncan Hines frosting jar, and I saved it. Not sure what I'm going to use it for, but maybe I'll make something else and can use that frosting on whoever I bake in the next week or so. If you guys have any other recipes that I can use that cream cheese frosting on, drop those down in the comments too. I love trying out new recipes because I really do enjoy baking. And there you have it, a perfectly baked and frosted Buffy Ties Duncan Hines red velvet cake. I hope this video was helpful and that you'll try making this delicious treat at home. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out.